And we are back, and we just finished watching 2022's Thor: Love and Thunder, rated PG-13 with a runtime of 1 hour and 58 minutes. This is the second of the Taika Waititi Thor movies, and I enjoyed this a lot. I'm really not sure why people were grumbling about this, but we'll get into that in a second. This was directed again by Taika Waititi from a story by Taika Waititi and Jennifer Kaytin Robinson, based on characters by Stan Lee. Should I go around the table and get impressions, or
it's up to you?
Do I need to give a brief synopsis of this?
No, you don't have to give a synopsis. People should see this on their own.
Yes.
We're not going to spoil any.
Oh, okay. So let's go around the table and get impressions. Olive G, what did you think?
I thought it was good.
Yeah? What'd you like about it?
I don't know.
Did you have a favorite character? Did you like Lady Thor? Did you like regular Thor? Did you like...
I like Lady Thor.
Lady Thor is cool.
Mighty Thor.
Mighty Thor, sorry. Thor, yes. Otherwise known as Jane Foster. Played by the lovely
Dr. Jane
Foster.
Foster.
That's right. Don't get it twisted. Played by the lovely Natalie Portman.
Did you think
she was great.
Did you think it was funny, Olive?
Well, it's funny.
School today.
What do you think we're talking about?
What are we talking about?
Meh.
You didn't think it was funny?
Meh.
I think that was the whole point of the movie.
I thought it was funnier than the first one.
Honestly, I thought it was just more about like action and stuff like that.
Okay, fair enough.
Really?
Did you have a favorite scene in this?
Probably when like that evil guy's dying. Well, he's not that evil. But like when he's dying and like you see her reflection and she's like this weird planet kind of thing. Like you can see the galaxy in her reflection.
Yeah, Eternity.
Yeah, it's good that we're mentioning that, considering we just 2 seconds ago said we weren't going to give away any spoilers.
That's not
Be
a spoiler,
quiet,
though.
Dad.
Yes, it is.
Oh, whatever.
It is.
Is it? How's it a spoiler?
We just said the end of the damn movie.
Nobody said the end.
Except
You
okay,
said
so
the evil guy's dying. You give away that he's got a daughter. You give away the thing about eternity. Come on.
yeah.
Just put spoilers.
Yeah,
we're gonna edit this whole thing out.
No, because that's her favorite section.
Just say when the bad
You know
guy
what?
gets
I always
his.
put a disclaimer that there are spoilers in this thing.
All right,
It's
I guess we're
fine.
ruining
It's
this.
fine. Oh, would you stop?
Be quiet.
Yeah, be quiet. What about you, Gigi? Did you have a favorite character in this?
Did you like it?
Did you like it, first of all? Be honest.
It was all right.
Yeah. You can say it.
I don't know what the hell was wrong with me today. I was just really bored.
All right, that's fine. You could say that you're bored. You know what? That seemed to be the popular consensus about this movie. A lot of the...
I mean, it was good. Like, I don't know, maybe
You were
it's just a bad
entertained?
day.
There was just something about it that didn't grab you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it just didn't hook me. But it was like I like the way it ended.
Yeah. I mean, listen,
Yeah.
these are opinions. You're allowed to have an opinion. If you didn't feel it, that's fine. Listen, according to the interwebs, that was the popular consensus.
The internet.
Yes, the popular consensus that a lot of people didn't like this film at all because it wasn't tonally like the first one, which I think you mentioned had a really good balance between action and humor.
Yeah.
Whereas this one seemed more of a comedy.
Ragnarok they definitely balanced it better. There was a lot more humor in Ragnarok than the previous Thor films or most Marvel films in general, but it still had that tone of being a sort of action-y superhero story where, in my opinion, it just was paced a lot better, like moving from piece to piece. Also, it felt...
Plus, it had the freaking Grandmaster.
The Grandmaster was amazing. Yeah, that was another thing. You had like the more interesting characters were introduced in Ragnarok. You had Hela, you had the Grandmaster. And come on.
A lot happens in that film, and
Yeah.
it felt like it moved a lot quicker. I understand.
Yeah.
Listen.
They talked about orgies.
Yes, they did talk about that. But reining it back in.
If you're worried for your kids, they never mention what orgies are.
Yes. I was surprised that the S word was dropped.
It's PG-13.
I understand that,
they're gonna
but
try and squeeze as many of those in there as they can.
I was still surprised for a Disney property. I was like, that seemed a little excessive. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I'm just saying.
Maybe like 6 in the whole script.
I wasn't counting, but anyway. Gee, did you have a favorite character? Did I ask you that? No. Did you?
I've always liked Valkyrie.
Valkyrie's awesome. The lovely Tessa Thompson.
You thought she
King
was gonna...
Valkyrie.
Oh.
Yeah, Valkyrie's good. I feel she was a little
Underused.
To me, I don't know. To me, she always feels a bit one-dimensional, especially in this one. In the last one, maybe she was a bit more fleshed out, I guess, because you got like a little bit of her backstory.
Well, I think you also had... Well, there was the story of Jane and Thor, which took precedence. That was the main story.
That was the main focus. And
Valkyrie's sort of like a side character. She's not really a main character.
Yeah, you're not really expecting much from Valkyrie or Korg.
Yeah, and I got to be honest, they had the Guardians at the beginning of this thing, and I thought they were going to come back and help, but that didn't happen.
That didn't happen.
Which was like weird.
It was almost like that we got to extricate ourselves out of this sort of like story that we've put ourselves in.
Yeah,
like,
and for me, it was like, why were they even in there? I mean, they could have cut that whole thing out, and he could have gotten the lesson that Peter gave him through a fortune cookie or something.
That through any character.
Yeah.
I think that was basically like, oh well, we ended Endgame with him going off with the Guardian. So now,
but you didn't need to see it. It could have just picked up where he dropped, and I think that would have saved some time. Listen, I agree. I think Ragnarok was a better film, absolutely, and I agree with you with the pacing and all the.
Ragnarok was really good.
Good blend between comedy and action.
To me, this was just.
But this one seemed like the beginning was more comedy, but then towards the end, it became like a more action piece.
Well, yeah, and that was like plus, it was more actiony, but it was also silly. I mean, even at the end with the action, it was kind of silly.
Sure.
And I feel like that was another thing. Like in Ragnarok, the comedy and the action was blended better. Like there was like you'd have an actiony scene or a bit more serious scene. I don't think there was any like dire serious scenes in Ragnarok really, but it would sort of like you'd have your moment of levity, your moment of seriousness, your moment of levity, your moment of seriousness. Good spacing that out. It worked. This one, it just felt like. It was like, hey, Taika, do whatever you want. And he did. And I don't know. It's not his best work. It was very comedy heavy in the beginning. And then he started putting in some more action-y bits. I don't know. To me, it wasn't enough as far as the action goes or the drama or anything. Like, I never once felt, oh, those kids are in danger. The threat never felt ominous. Like you have this guy who's the God Butcher. He's killing gods, and it never felt threatening. I mean, he looked like he could have been threatening, but he never really did anything that made me feel that way.
Well, I think
they also, it was like they humanized him a little bit too much.
Possibly.
He had his reasonings. It made sense for him to be doing the things that he was doing, but. I mean, he is no Thanos. He is not threatening. I didn't hate Gorr.
Yeah.
I want to hate the bad guy.
Right. But that's like the nice thing about these movies, because it's like you have bad guys, but then, like you said, they do humanize them. And I think in this case, you would have to, because of the origin story of Gorr and how he becomes who he becomes, the personal loss that he suffers, right? So I think it makes sense in that case. I mean, like you look at a movie like Black Panther, you understand why Killmonger is the way he is.
Right, you do, and he is menacing. He is menacing, and he's going to do something horrible. This guy...
But I think a lot of that was done off screen, because you hear that he's killing these gods, and there's that sequence where
I never felt bad about him killing. Like it wasn't like we saw him kill like some sort of innocent, friendly god or anything like that. We just heard, that giant rat monster that's laying dead over there was a cool guy.
Yeah.
He was a nice guy.
He was a nice guy.
Yeah.
Once again, we're not taking this seriously. We're just sort of playing it off with like a bit of a joke.
I think a lot a lot of story had to happen, and I think that I understand what you're saying, and I it's a valid point, but I think in this case, I'm assuming the filmmaker is just like, I have to get from point A to point B, so there's certain things that are going to be rushed.
Dad,
and
if you really wanted that to happen, like for it to actually show him killing them, then this movie would probably be like, there'd probably be half an hour more on this movie.
No, but I don't feel like that's the case, because there were plenty of bits where it was just talking, where like I said, this wasn't. There was action, but it was not an action-heavy movie.
No, it wasn't. I agree.
And it was 2 hours long.
Mm-hmm.
And there was here, now we're going to talk about it in the hall over here.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're going to talk about it on the boat. And now we're going to have like a little bit of a comedy asides while we're in, what was it, Omnipotent City or whatever the hell it was called?
Yeah.
And now we're gonna save this temple on this alien planet in the beginning of the movie. That doesn't really.
Well, I feel like the beginning was kind of not necessary.
That's what I mean. All of these moments were wasted in my mind for a couple of gags. Oh, he blew up the temple.
Yeah.
You're supposed to
that
save
whole
the temple, and he blew it up, and the high priest is sort of like, he's grateful, but he's pissed off.
Sure.
And it's like, okay. It's a Taika Waititi movie. You're going to have like these little
Silly.
asides where there's like a little bit of fun there, but come on, focus on the main thing. I'm not seeing Gorr do anything that terrible. Hela did terrible things. She slaughtered everybody. She killed people who were like major or somewhat major characters in the previous Thor movies. I'm not seeing this. I don't feel. And then when Gorr does kill somebody, and it's like, oh, that was a good person that he killed. It's just sort of like, yeah, he was a cool guy. And it's like, why are you being so flip about this? Everything was just too much. It was too. We're just having a laugh.
All right. Well, I understand what you're saying. I agree with it, but it didn't. I agree with it, but I don't think that it took away from my enjoyment of the film. I do agree there are parts that could have been tweaked, but on the whole, I mean, again, it's not a perfect movie, and I agree with you. I think Ragnarok is a more solid, stronger film and better storytelling. But it held my interest. I was entertained. I laughed.
Yeah, I mean, it was silly.
Yeah.
It was. That's the way I would describe this movie. It was silly.
Yeah.
It was just a silly movie, and to me, it just doesn't match the tone that they're setting for, or have set in the past. How long has it been now?
A gajillion years.
20 years or something, or
20
10,
plus.
10 years of Marvel movies at least. There's a certain tone there, and this was.
Are we counting Iron Man?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it's more than 20 years. Yeah.
Yeah, and this felt almost like a cartoon. Yeah. So, like I said, it was silly. I didn't hate it, but it's absolutely nowhere near my favorite Marvel movie.
Okay.
I don't even...
Dad?
Yeah?
Would you have liked this better if it were like an episode thing like Miss Marvel?
Maybe, because then you'd have a little bit more room to breathe, and you could
flesh out the story.
You could put in those more serious moments. Make me care, and make me. I mean, I understand the bad guy is the good guy in his own story. You did that, okay? But he's still a bad guy. I still have to know he's doing terrible things. The one god that we actually do see him kill is some goofy, out of shape guy with a golden halo around his head.
Yeah.
His blood
who's
is
like
golden.
hanging out with a bunch of people made of flowers.
Yeah.
And some guys with
Oh,
weird
I thought you were
masks.
talking about somebody else. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's
Right.
like
Okay.
that guy he was sort of indifferent, but it wasn't like he was. I don't know.
He was kind of a jerk.
He was just a jerk.
Yeah.
And then that, and also like the setup for that whole thing was kind of dumb. It was like, oh, this guy with the necrosword just tried to kill me and we stopped him. And that guy was like jacked. He was like this big Diesel ebony looking monster guy.
Vin Diesel.
And then
No, that's Groot.
and then skinny, emaciated, starving to death Christian Bale shows up and he just kills this guy who apparently slaughtered this like monster.
Bodybuilder.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm glad you brought up Christian Bale. Nice casting. I think it's nice to see him.
I thought he did a good job.
I think he did a great job. I think it's nice to see him do something not Oscar bait-ish, I feel like.
Yeah. I mean,
He's usually such a serious guy.
yeah, even when he was Batman.
Yeah. But I enjoyed it. I would have liked to have seen him do more comedic things in this. But it didn't.
No, but he was there were scenes where he was just sort of goofy, like when he was trying to menace the kids. I mean, he was still creepy, but it was like he was like,
I don't know if he was goofy. I wouldn't have put it.
He was like trying to do a performance like a less scary Pennywise.
Well, he's such a good actor.
But even still, it was like I'm not really seeing him do anything horrible.
True.
I mean, he didn't even kill those kids.
Right. Well, I don't think that's what he was there to do. That wasn't his goal.
You're just here to kidnap them and then return.
Right.
That
So
wouldn't fit.
Thor.
That wouldn't fit in with his character. But
Right.
I also didn't really see him kill any of the adult Asgardians either. Like when he attacks.
Well, he doesn't.
When
he
attacks,
summons those things to basically
and
do.
He does that,
his
and
dirty
those
work.
things, they're the worst. None of them accomplished anything. I don't think anybody got killed.
Well, people got
that you
hurt.
saw. I mean, obviously he's been killing
Well,
gods.
that's what I mean. I want to see people die. I want to know this threat is life-threatening.
This is Marvel / Disney. It's not
No.
gonna go down that route.
Plenty of people die in Marvel movies.
I don't know about plenty.
Are you kidding? People are getting sucked into plane engines in Winter Soldier and shot and killed and thrown off
In
buildings.
Mr. Incredible, that happened. Some guy got sucked.
That was in the
Buddy.
Incredibles. Somebody gets killed like that too. But Marvel movies are not afraid to show people getting killed.
I don't know.
Come on.
I feel like everything's done off screen.
Even in Ragnarok, Thor got his eye torn out.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay? People die. A lot of people died in Thor Ragnarok. A lot. That guy got melted in the chair next to him, and that was the comedy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they could have showed some of these Asgardian people getting murdered.
All right. I'm going to go around the table and get numbers. Gigi, I'm going to start with you. 1 to 10. What would you give this film?
Probably. You said IMDb gave it a 6.6, right?
Yeah.
Probably give it a 6 too.
All right. What about you, Olive J?
1.5.
No.
You actually liked the
liked
movie.
it.
So
Yeah, I know. I just bought something that says 1.5.
1 to 10. What would you give this?
I give it an 8.
An 8. I was going to...
an 8.5.
See, I would give Ragnarok an 8.5. I would give this like a 7.5, I think.
I'm going to give this a 6 too.
All right.
Monster.
It was okay. It was a bit too silly for me, though. I feel like it was just sort of like, hey, Ragnarok was so good, we're going to let you do whatever you want. And Taika Waititi is really good at
Silly. Yeah.
And it was just like, I'm just going to make this as silly as possible.
Right.
And he did.
Wiener.
And
Well,
it's out of tone with the rest of the MCU. This was, like I said, this could have been a cartoon.
Well, maybe like Olive pointed out, maybe they should have done this as a weekly series and you could have really developed this better.
Yeah, make Gorr more of a menace. I mean, yeah. Even when he finds Sif and she's missing an arm, he's just like, "Oh, your arm's gone."
Yeah.
Well, they don't really show it. They just show blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if I saw my friend laying on the ground and her arm was gone, I would be like, "Why? What the?" I would be really distraught.
Yeah.
He's just like, "You're missing an arm." It's like, "Oh, you got a new haircut."
All right.
On, some
I just to wrap this up, I like this a lot. I appreciated that it wasn't a carbon copy of Ragnarok. I think a lot of people were expecting that. And I think it's fine that he went a different route. I think there's a lot in there to keep people entertained. This is a 2-hour film. I think from where it starts to where it ends, it's eye candy. Obviously, Disney money well spent. You've got really good performances. You've got great costuming, good effects, really great casting. It was nice to see Natalie Portman again in this. It was great to see Christian Slater do something.
Slater.
I mean, Christian, you know what I was thinking about Heather's the earlier today. We were talking about Heather. It was great to see Christian Bale kind of go against the grain and be in a kind of blockbuster sort of thing, even though he has been Batman. But it's nice to see him, I guess, in the MCU. He's an actor I never thought ever. If you had told me 5 years ago Christian Bale's going to be in a Marvel film, I would have been like, no way.
Well, I could see it. I mean, he was Batman.
Yeah, but still, it's different. I mean, that's Batman as told by Christopher Nolan. So, yeah, he's going to be in
Let me say that the last Batman film was terrible.
Except for Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy. But even Tom Hardy's...
Wait, what?
The last... Not the Robert Pattinson
not the
one.
Robert Pattinson.
The one was with
Christian Bale movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was it called?
Ooh, are you going to fight?
The Return of the Dark. I don't know what the hell it was
Whatever
called.
it was called.
But that film was just flat out stupid.
I don't know. The angle there was dumb. Yeah,
stupid. It made no sense.
Although I got news for you, I would rather
I could totally see him in a Marvel film after that.
I agree with you, but I would totally watch that over Last Skywalker again.
Yes.
So,
because I mean, just for Tom Hardy's voice.
Yes, we still talk about that.
I mean, people. What was that silly voice? I love Tom Hardy's choice of voice. That was just great.
Yeah. All right. So, proceed with caution, I guess, is the bottom line here. I enjoyed it. I recommend it. If you haven't seen it, it's currently streaming as of today on Disney Plus.
It's silly. It's fun. I think younger kids will like it. Like Olive really liked it. If you're like I could see how like die-hard superhero Marvel nerds were upset by it. But seriously, come on. It's a goddamn Marvel movie. Take it easy.
I guess we'll just wrap this up.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's it from us. And we will bid you all a
good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.